say that the LYMOW One is a beast is doing it a disservice. But to be honest, it kind of operates like it looks. It looks like a bulldozer. It'll go about anywhere like a bulldozer will. But it mows very well and very unlike a robot mower. Most of your robot mowers have these little bitty blades, which in a lot of lawns in the suburbs, as well as in downtown America with little bitty postage stamp size lots, that works absolutely fine. However, this takes it to a whole new level. What LYMOW does is now incorporates a regular style blade, yes, albeit a bit smaller, and adds to it that you can cut now over an acre a day. And that's on probably a couple of charges. In fact, we're mowing right at an acre and a half with this, and it takes 2 charges. But let's take a look at the underbelly of this thing. By the way, we left it dirty on purpose because usually we like to keep clean shots of this, but this is our second round with this mower, and quite frankly, you just need to see it in its full battle array, if you will, as it comes in from mowing. One of the cool things about this, I can do this, I can operate this from the app. I can also operate it from some controls right here. So by holding the minus button down, what it's going to do now is lower the deck. And now if I hold the plus sign down, and now it will lift the deck straight up for me. And now I have access to the blades, to clean everything up, to sharpen the blades, whatever I need to do. So as you see here, twin conventional style blades, albeit smaller as we mentioned. However, they still are blades, and they have a mulching lift on these as well. And as far as the size on them, each one of them is about 8 inches. So we get about a 16-inch swath of a cut. And obviously we want to do some overlap, but you still get a lot larger cut than your typical smaller robot mower. And again, we get a true mulching blade here. Now, by design, the mower out of the box is going to mulch. In other words, it's going to keep all the clippings in here and continue to rotate it to mulch it up where it's nice and fine, and then it drops it out the bottom like a typical mulching blade would. However, what you can do if you're continually mowing thick grass, you can actually remove these screws here, and in the kit, you'll get some diverters that will basically blow these grass clippings out the sides, and like your old conventional style mowers where they would side eject, it will actually side eject these clippings as well. So you have the choice to whether you want to mulch kind of out of the box as it comes, or if you want to put the side eject pieces on there and eject the grass out the side of the mower. Actually, I think the screws in here, and then this piece right here will remove, and it will eject it out the sides right here as well as right here. Again, hold the minus sign down, and it will lower the blade deck back down. And you see the wheels actually drop down as well as the deck drops down. Now, as far as the size of the whole mower, it's about 30 inches long and about 22 inches wide across the tracks, and the deck's about the same size as the tracks as well. And as far as the height of this, almost 13 inches tall. And it's not a light mower, so it's not something you just want to carry around with you for sure. Now, the LYMOW One uses RTK technology as well as V-SLAM technology, which is basically utilizing video cameras or cameras all around the unit, as well as its RTK signal that it gets from satellites, as well as locally from the antenna. And it uses that to not only be able to map, but also be able to work around no-go zones and be very precise at that. And really what you get with this is a robot mower that will do everything that your typical robot mowers will do, but it will do it better, as well as it will do much more than your typical robot mower, because this thing will literally go just about anywhere. It'll do steep inclines, whether that's climbing it straight up, whether it's coming down, or whether it's pitched to the side as well. It does very well with any type of steep inclines, as well as even sticks and obstacles that way. And it's going to see obstacles that are kind of thrown in its path, whether it be a bicycle, whether it be a chicken or a dog or a child. It's going to see those things and work around them And then obviously you can set up no-go zones in the map to be able to divert around things as well. You also have lights on the LYMOW One that you can turn on and be able to mow at night, as well as even an LED light here on the top of the mower. That's more of an indicator light, just kind of showing you the status. You also get a backlit control right here. And as I mentioned, you can use these buttons here to either power it off, to go to your home screen, or actually go back to the charger, as well as your plus and minus will do different functions on the screen as well. And the big red stop button, hit that if you're ever in a pinch, and it will literally stop the mower, stop the blade, stop the track, stop everything. And then to reset it, you just hit the button once more. Here in the back is a panel. If you squeeze this, this is going to give you access to the large battery back here, where you can actually pull this out if you need to if you had an extra battery, you could literally get more capacity or more mowing done in a day. Slides back in and locks into place. You can undo that wiring with a quick quarter turn quick lock, and then put your cover back on. So if you do want to mow more than that acre and a half in a day, then you can just buy an extra battery, swap them out, hot swap them, and keep going. If there's one thing we've learned about robot mowers, it's that they're not really fit for large yards, at least not until we've used the LYMOW One. Now, there's been others that have done bigger yards, but most of the robot mowers are made for that typical USA home, that quarter acre lot, and that's about it. But this thing, they claim it will mow over an acre and a half a day, and it will actually do it. Now, it does take a couple of charges to do it, but this that you see right here is a little over an acre that it's actually mapped out to mow. And you'll see here at the end, it will go back to charge, but then it will come back and do most of that in just a single charge or a single recharge. So in other words, it's going to use up the whole battery here, go back charge, come back and finish this up, but it's going to do that in one day, and then I can have it programmed to mow another acre and a half the next day. So it's going to do that in all daylight hours if you want it to, but it will also mow into the night, which that's great about this as well. But with the LYMOW One, it's going to be able to do those large yards, not just your typical yards, and it's also going to be able to traverse over just about anything, which we'll show here in a few moments. And so that's the great thing about this. It mows really well. It has kind of a typical style blade, as well as it will mow large yards. So if you have a larger than typical yard, this is a great mower for you. Also, if you have things that has to traverse over, it's not just your common yard that, is always pristine. Again, this will be a great mower for you. Very impressed with the ability to be able to map out these large yards and mow them very well as have obstacle avoidance, as well as be able to traverse under trees and not lose signal, or to be able to actually mow without signal. And now it's going back home to charge to come back another time and finish. And I've mentioned that this thing will go just about anywhere, and it really will go just about anywhere. Going to push its abilities here and see what happens as we try to traverse some of this. And I would not recommend doing this at all. But here at Shop Tour Reviews, that's what we do, right? We kind of push the boundaries sometimes when it comes to our tools, as well, in this case, as robot mowers. So don't be crossing creeks with yours, but you know what? We wanted to push the limits a little bit. And so that's what we did. But climbing hills, crossing muddy places, going up, washouts, you name it, this thing will really do it. And by the way, I even have the blade deck down on this, which kind of gets in the way, so you could actually raise it up and get through even rougher obstacles. But you'll see here, it'll go through this heavier grass and even come back through this even higher grass without problem over and over again. And if you're worried about obstacle avoidance or something in the yard that the mower's got to see or go around, it will detect that. That's not programmed into the map. It's actually seeing that jug and actually steering around it. It'll probably go back and mow another stripe, come back and see that again, probably avoid it on the next one as well, but still pick it up on the other side of that obstacle and all around it. And the next time, it won't remember that because it knows it's not programmed in. And here it comes back the other way. And again, sees it again. It's trying to pick up everything it hasn't mowed yet, and it's still going to steer around it. Okay, mowing with the LYMOW One, you have a couple of different options. We can manually mow using the app, and controlling the mower, we can manually go and say select all or select a certain lawn. And from there say go out and mow, and it will go out and mow and complete that task. Even if it has to come back and recharge, it will complete that task. Or you can actually go to your settings, the little gear icon, and you can scroll down here to schedules, and you can make a task or make several tasks. And I can make a task out of this lawn here. And once I select that, I can now say, okay, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and on Saturdays at whatever time we select, let's say 4 o'clock, and save task. And every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday at 4 p.m., it's going to go out and do that task, or I can start that task now. So you can set multiple tasks for your schedules, set multiple lawns to be able to do those, and then automatically it's just going to go out on those days and accomplish those tasks without you having to do anything. And it will give you notifications if it does need your attention for anything that may transpire. Okay, so let's just say that we want to add another zone here for the LYMOW to mow. We've got a couple other zones, about 1.5 acres already mowing, but we've got some space out here, so let's just add another zone. You can also see my screenshot here, and I'm just going to go to the little pencil there, and then I'm going to hit the plus sign and say I'm going to add a new zone, and we're just going to start drawing this out. Very easy. You're just going to drive this just like you would a radio controlled car. You've got a stick on the left to push forward to go forward, pull it back to go backwards, and then shift the other stick left and right to steer this. So pretty simplistic. About anybody can drive this. I think we've got a little hill here that we'll go over. And all we need to do is complete our circle here. And you see the little dotted line kind of connecting us already. And I'll just bring it in here, try to get close there. There we go, zone completed. Now, here's the cool thing. It doesn't stop there. We can also set, let's say, the height. Well, this is pretty high right now, so let's go ahead and mow this at like 3.5 inches. Let's get the blade speed, cutting half, 3.5. We're gonna put the blade speed at max for right now. Again, once this is cut maybe a couple of times, we can bring this blade speed back down. We can bring the cutting height down a little bit. And then on the moving speed, we're going to leave it right there, a little on the slow side. And then even stripe angle, we can set this however we want to. Let's go ahead and move this stripe angle to kind of this way. And path spacing we'll leave, mowing perimeter first. Turn off outer mowing motor. No, we're not going to do that. Zigzag pattern, yeah, relative chessboard, 90. And then obstacle detection, smart detection. Yes, we want all that. Hit save. And now we've got the parameter set for the actual mowing. So now I'm going to hit the plus sign and let's add a no-go zone. And I'm just going to draw a little spot right here. Let's assume there was a tree right there. And I know we probably could have drawn a tree that's already there, but again, let's pretend, if we will. And now there's a no-go zone completed right there. Now I'm going to back out of here. And now you should see on our map, there's our new little zone created. I'm going to go ahead and say mow that. Just let me pause that. And I'm going to go to select, and we're just going to select, cancel our task. And now I'll go to select and just select that new zone and click mow. So you see what's happening here. It actually came out of the zone or to the edge of the zone, and now it's actually lowering the deck to the setting that we had in place. And then in a moment, it's going to tell you, hey, starting to mow, the mower blades are going to come on, it's going to start going. So basically you saw it go all the way down. Now it's lifting it back up. You'll see the wheels drop down to actually set the actual mowing height that we selected, which I believe was like 3.5 inches. And then we'll see it start mowing. And each time it starts a new zone, that's what you'll see happen. Now what you'll notice here in this higher grass, which kind of makes sense, you may see some stragglers sticking up. But the great thing about a robot mower is we can set a schedule, and second or third time it comes out, it's going to knock all those down. Now what it's doing now is something you won't see your typical robot mower be able to handle at all. Even running over this moss and stick here, that's something that would totally take out a typical robot mower, and it'd probably go into some type of error and you'd have to fix it. Not with the LYMOW One. So its first pass was a perimeter pass, where it did that complete perimeter of the zone, as you can see here in the screenshot. But now it will actually start striping it. Now it may, miss some areas, come back and get other areas, but for the most part, it'll probably do a lot of straight lines, even though this is kind of a funky kidney-shaped zone that we've created here. So now you can see it's done the majority of this zone, and now it's coming back to clean up around the edges of the no-go zone, as well as the few spots that it hasn't hit yet. Now here's what's happening here is that the mower, I'm going to go ahead and hit pause. The mower is seeing some of this dense stuff that's sticking up as an obstacle. So you could turn down the obstacle avoidance stuff or turn it off. Or what you can do is just go into the remote control, and you can go into the remote and say, I want the blades up to max, and I want to set the height at 3.5 inches, and I can set the moving speed, and then it says slide to confirm. And now I can manually mow. And so you may notice spots that it's not picking up, and then you can just hit it with a real mower if you want to, or you can just go to manual mode and be able to drive it like this. Now notice a spot over here too that it missed. So a couple of things. Number one, when you're hitting real high spots like this, you got to be able to expect that it's not going to be perfect the first time out. But as I mentioned, the more it cuts, the better it's going to be. And that's the idea of a robot mower, is that you set the schedule to come out here and mow quite often, and then it's just always mowed. As you can see, the rest of this here is nice and trimmed up because we have a schedule that it comes out and mows. Now most of our grass here on this acreage is Bahia grass, which is very tough to cut. But we also have some large patch of St. Augustine as we have cutting here, which a lot of times St. Augustine can be really thick, really plush, and be a pain to mow. And a lot of robot mowers really have a tough time mowing St. Augustine. And specifically, that's why we have this big kind of patch of St. Augustine turf, is to be able to test these robot mowers to see if they can handle not just cutting it, but actually being able to navigate it, turning around in it, not tear it up. And the LYMOW One does absolutely fine with it. No problems at all of being able to cut, whether it's Bahia, whether it's weeds, or even this thicker St. Augustine as well. You can get this LYMOW One for $2,500 right now. Typically it's usually $3,000, but I'm telling you, this is really the first mower that we've seen that has the true blades on it, that's able to cut really any types of turf. This also has the durability of that solid construction like the all aluminum frame, and you can just tell it when you pick this thing up, when you see it navigate. The fact that it can navigate up hills, over tree roots, over small rocks, through washout areas, you name it, this thing's going to go through without any problem, as well as be able to cut the thickest turf you got also, and the ability to set those schedules and just kind of set it and forget it, if you will. It's a really great mower, highly recommend it, and it's always going to go back, find its place, find the charger, and go back and charge and then repeat the task or finish the task it needs to without any input from you. But then when it needs to, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to notify you when you need to do something like maybe get it out of a jam that it got stuck under a car. Ask me how we know. Well, we know. Out of all the mowers, specifically robot mowers that we've reviewed here on Shop Tool Reviews, which we've reviewed really many of these, many different manufacturers, many different mowers, the LYMOW One is by far the most capable, meaning it can go over about any terrain, it can handle cutting about any type of grass, and it can also traverse those areas and make those turns without tearing up the grass as well, which is very key. It's got an excellent cut quality to it also, using those real mulching blades. Highly recommended. If you have a large yard, this is a great mower for you.